What's going on out there, YouTube? This is SEL0320 representing JVS. I'm going to do something that I've never done before, which is doing a full review with my son David. And ironically enough, you have a character in David Dunn and Isaiah Price that is Unbreakable. Unbreakable was directed and wrote by M. Night Shyamalan. He's made really good films and some that are kind of iffy on the side, but Unbreakable, hands down, is probably one of his best well-crafted films to date. It came out in 2000. I did not get the luxury of seeing it in the movie theaters, but actually come this Saturday, I'll be able to see all three, Unbreakable, Split, and Glass, at a designated location, which I'm very excited about. But let's go ahead and just kind of break down what I think about Unbreakable. Unbreakable, to me, when I first saw it, it was kind of like, man, this is so visceral, in your face, and I was like, but at the same time, this is quintessentially one of the best superhero origin stories since Spider-Man 1 with Sam Raimi in 2002, ironically. But one of the things I found so interesting rewatching this film is the camera angles, the cinematography, the product placement. There were moments where I looked and I was like, when you first see the very opening shot is Elijah's mother having him, and then the doctor coming in and like, what happened to this baby? Who did this to this baby? And you kind of see him holding the baby, but he's got him upside down. Later on, you see him getting like notions from his mother that you need to go and find the comic book out there and brave the weather, so to speak. And he did. But then when he first saw the comic book, he had it upside down. And it's the imagery and the cinematography and the placement of so much that it's like Easter eggs on top of Easter eggs on top of metaphors on top of metaphors. And it is probably some of the best cinematography that I think I've really ever seen, because I didn't really appreciate it until now. My son is, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm about to give you your stuff. Where's your pacifier? I'm about to find your pacifier. But the other thing about this is just how well developed each character is, how symbiotic they are in so many different natures, always to the very line where Elijah was telling, he told David everything, and he basically was like, you know, this is how it always is. You can always tell who the hero is because, or you can always tell who the villain is because they're always the direct opposite of who the hero is. And normally they're friends like you and me. And like the symmetry behind that, so many different elements was about like Elijah really trying to comprehend and understand his place in reality so much that he's like, I'm gonna also help create you. And we've seen that in films before. We've seen that with the 1989 Batman by Tim Burton, where it's like, I made you, you made me first. In so many different regards, that's kind of like this story in spades in so many different respects. Because if Elijah had not done all these different things, I don't think David would have ever had to unfold himself to counter what Elijah was doing and who he is. And this is a huge spoiler alert, because Elijah, we find out later on, if you've never seen Unbreakable, he caused all these disasters, hundreds of people dying, so many different lives put in jeopardy because he didn't want to give up on his pursuit of his acknowledgement and need to be a part of the world and who he's supposed to be. But he also had to find the other side of that, which is the hero. And it's crazy because psychologically, Elijah is messed up, but he wasn't wrong. He wasn't actually wrong. And the thing about this that was so interesting is watching the chemistry of the families. And it's like so realistic because your girl, what's her name? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Jenny. I forget her name. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I forgot her name. Oh yeah. Robin Wright. Robin Wright plays the role of David Dunn's wife, and you find out later on, progressionally through the story. I mean, you find out in the very opening when he's walking through the hospital and everybody's like, "You're the only survivor," and she's sitting there like they were holding hands and they just release, and it's like, what in the world is going on? And then you find out like progressively, like she wants things a certain kind of way, she needs things to be a certain kind of way so she can be with him, but inside he was cracking. Inside he wasn't living to what he was supposed to be, what his life was supposed to be. It's like, imagine Superman decided, oh, I'm gonna kind of hide who I am because Lois Lane doesn't want, you know, any kind of violence or like superhero or metahumans a part of her livelihood, so to speak. And he just was like, I'm going to repress all that until eventually somebody like Lex Luthor kind of presses him and pushes him like, you do know who you are and why you're here. And what are you going to do to, you know, to find your place in this? You need to be this hero so people can find. And that would be the same as that situation realistically. But instead, you know, Superman had people that was able to unfold him and show him who he is. And it'd be interesting to find out if his family members can have this. Like in Glass, is it going to be that Joseph, his son, who's actually in the movie, is he going to unfold any kind of powers later on? Not especially when you got other people like Kevin Wendell Crumb from Split. So the other thing about Kevin Wendell Crumb is like he, I guess, lost people on that train as well because he went and took some. What's that second thing? He went and took flowers and left them there on the tracks. But as far as the acting, I think that one of the things I found that was really good about Bruce Willis's character is he wasn't Bruce Willis. He wasn't like trying to just embrace like the action hero-y or like snooty or smart remark. Like he very much so was like reserved and a person that kind of like didn't know his place. And even when he looked at people, he just came off really strange. And even when he had this really interesting dialogue with Elijah where he was saying, well, I kind of wanted to know what this card meant. I felt like it was going to mean something. You can kind of see like there was an emptiness on the inside of him that far transcended like his relationship with his wife and his son and his job. Like it was something deeper than that. And I feel like Bruce played it so well. Like he played a character that he doesn't commonly play, in my personal opinion. Like the more I look at it later on, like I was like, man, he just seems so weird and eerie, even more so than Elijah. Elijah was transparently weird because of his ideals and his thought process and what he believed. But when it came to David, it was like he's such a complex character. Both of them are very complex characters. And with complex situations, because Samuel Jackson, oh my gosh, when Samuel Jackson rose up on the scene with his little glass cane and like who he is and his haircut to the side, I was like, who is this man? Especially when, I remember that vividly when I first looked at it for the first time. I was like, I could never have my hair like that. But he was so cool, and that's part of the reason why I got this kind of pinkish purplish color on right now, because I was like, you gotta represent Mr. Glass, so to speak. But dude, there's so many different moments that I was like, yo, he's gonna hurt himself and I don't want to see it. When they got to those stairs and like David Dunn was like, I can imagine this, and he described the gun, and like he started like, whoa, hey, hold on. And then I saw them stairs and I was like, the cinematography and the way that they use the sound and cinematography and Samuel Jackson's acting, like I was like, yo, I felt every minute of it. Like it made him such a sympathetic character. Like it's like, you know, he needs to find his existence. He know he's willing to put his life on the line to prove this right. You know what I'm saying? Especially even when he was in the comic book store. Remember this, David? When he was in the comic book store and he was just sitting there upset because, you know, David was like, I've been sick before. Like it was when I was in water, XYZ, XYZ. And he was just sitting there. And it was kind of just like, he had given up, you know what I'm saying? And the guy was like, I want to roll you out of here. And every single time, he would just roll into the comics. And like the facial mannerisms and the way that he actually acted and the way that it was actually captured cinematography-wise, this movie, honestly, from a cinematography standpoint and from a developmental standpoint, as far as the progression of the characters, the way the story flows, the pacing, like, even though the third act, like, really does go really quick and goes really extreme, it doesn't lose itself with time. What I mean by that is, I feel the same exact way that I felt when the first time I watched this. Like, this eerie feeling, like, man, this has to happen. Like, man, like, even though, like, David Dunn's, like, getting thrown up against different walls, he's not getting hurt by that. And all he has to do is hold on to this guy, like, goes out. What's up, boy? But all around, when I think about this film, Unbreakable, I have to give it no less than a 10 out of 10. This is a masterpiece. And if you've never seen Unbreakable, you owe it to yourself to check it out. Because I only kind of unraveled certain things about it. I didn't talk about like the wait scene with the son, which is so awesome. I didn't talk about like the scene when Elijah's talking to this one guy that's trying to broker like a comic book and his impression about what comic books means to him. Or even deeper than that, the conversation when David Dunn is kind of going to the art gala and talking to the mom, and then you start to understand, whoa. And then everything from that point transitions to unraveling who Elijah Price really is. Like that transition was not just a great twist, it was great pacing, it was a great accumulation of everything that kind of happened, and I loved every second of it. So definitely go, when you have time, check out Unbreakable. I'm gonna go and rewatch Split, even though I'm gonna be seeing these movies again in the theater on Tuesday, but it's different seeing in the theater versus seeing at home, because I can really kind of progress it better. And my baby boy is so tired. He's like, no more, no mas. No mas, right, buddy? No mas. Y'all see his little bear suit? It's so cute. But yeah, so for me, 10 out of 10. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. I've never reviewed Unbreakable before. I feel like I'm missing so much, but credit to M. Night Shyamalan. Thank you for the opportunity of being able to go and actually watch it early on the 12th. And I'll also be seeing it again probably on the 15th. But I'll mention that a little bit later on. God bless you. God bless you, buddy. God bless you. But anyway, keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. We gotta go. Say goodbye, buddy. Say goodbye. Alright, guys. Have a blessed one. Peace.
Call me the wingman, cause I'm on his team. Higher than the flyest spaceship you ever seen. Hotter than a sunbeam, cause it's so real. Call him Mr. Wonderful, cause he is that deal. The night is darkest just before the dawn, and the dawn is coming quick.